Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to Namaste Village, our Wednesday session. It is wonderful to be awake, wonderful to be present, wonderful to be here with such mighty companions. I look out and I just see such... Well, I have to admit that I'm maybe a little bit altered right now because we did begin our private retreats. We have two ladies who are in the I Am Awake retreats, and I had to get up very early and chant with both of them. And it is such a beautiful gift to be able to join in such a high frequency. And that's really all we do here every day is join in that frequency of I am. Not I want or I will be, hopefully, one day. But I am that right now, in this moment. That's what we share. So thank you for joining us. All of you here on Zoom and all of you here at Namaste Village. As you know, this week we are doing something a little different than what we usually do. We usually do the daily word from Unity to begin, but this week we're having some fun. I think we need to sort of, you can go ahead and turn the music off. Thank you, Ravi. This week we're showing some scenes from movies and looking at the spiritual lessons in them. Movies that you may have seen, maybe you haven't seen. This movie I'm going to show you today is one that I hope you've seen, but it's very possible that you haven't. It's one of my very favorites. I won't tell you what it is quite yet. But there is a frequency to this film and to this experience that I think points directly to the experience that each one of us is being called into. It's something that's beyond words, beyond concepts, but we all feel it, we all know it. Especially when it's right there. And that moment when it's right there in front of us, available to us, we have a choice. We can say, yes, let's do this, I'm going. Or we could say, not quite yet. I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to get ready. When I was with the Emissaries of Light in 1995 in the mountains of Bosnia, their whole message was, as I've said before, just two words. They said, just say, I'm ready. I am ready. I need do nothing. I'm ready right now to step into this. And that's what the experience is just the acknowledgement of your readiness to be whole. The acknowledgement of your readiness to realize that you are now and have always been and will always be whole, one. But sometimes to do that, we have to let go of what we thought we were or our comfort. Maybe we need to get uncomfortable. In some cases, that's very true. Before we can break through, break free. We have many examples of that. Let's begin with the Buddha. The Buddha being raised in this privileged house, this kingdom where he never saw suffering. He was sheltered and kept away from all of those things that the people right outside the gate had to go through. And finally, one day he stepped out and he experienced something he didn't know was possible. And he had to leave everything behind in order to realize the truth of who he was. We could look at St. Francis. St. Francis being that rich playboy, one of the most popular men in Assisi, who had everything, or at least he thought he did, until he realized the nothingness of what he thought was so important. And then one day he was with one of his brothers, and he was in a church, and he heard the gospel being read. And it said, if you want to be perfect, sell everything you have, give the money to the poor, and then come and follow me. And a fire was lit inside of him. He jumped up and he screamed, that's what I want. That's the experience I'm looking for. What did he do? He gave everything away. And he just wanted to see if it was possible to really live that message of love. Now, the same is true for each one of us, whether we know it or not. We are being called to give everything. That may or may not mean to give everything to the poor. We don't want to reject that idea completely because maybe it is. For some of us, it is to literally give everything away. Most of us who have come to live here in Mexico, everyone except Melody, gave everything. Oh, she gave a lot away. Okay. We had to simplify our lives and give a lot of things away to come here and to just be in this new life. That's what Francis did. That's what the Buddha did. That's what many, many of the great teachers and sages have done. And so I love to see modern examples of this same story. So the movie clip we're going to watch today is from one of my favorite movies called Into the Wild. How many of you have seen Into the Wild? Okay. In some ways, this is the story of St. Francis, because this is about a young man who just graduated from a prestigious university. He has it all, rich parents. They give him a car. They want him to go out and be a lawyer or whatever it is, go into graduate school. But there's something that has moved inside of him that he can no longer deny. And so he gives it all away, and he sets off with nothing. He actually literally burns his money. And he begins just to live for others. And at one point, he comes across this old man who is very set in his ways. And they become dear friends, and yet this older man, his friend, is unable. He sees that the example that this young guy is setting for him, but he figures he's too set in his ways. But there's something that's contagious about someone who is giving everything. When someone says, "I'm all in," there's something that is so powerful about that it can move even the most strong and stubborn among us. So that's why I picked this particular scene, because we could see how the contagion of this beautiful spirit affects another person. So let me go ahead and show this to you, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. So this is from Into the Wild.
What the hell are you running from?
You know, I could ask you the same question, except I already know the answer.
Oh, you do ya?
I do, Mr. Franz. You gotta get back out in the world. Get out of that lonely house, that little workshop of yours. Get back out on the road. Really? You're gonna live a long time, Ron. You should make a radical change in your lifestyle. I mean, the core of man's spirit comes from new experiences. And there you are, stubborn old man, sitting on your butt.
Sitting on my butt?
Yeah.
Ha! I'll show you! Sitting on my butt! Stubborn old man. I'll show you!
Come on then. Come on.
Sitting on my butt. Ha! Yeah.
Come on, old man, come climb it.
Sitting on my butt.
Come on, keep going.
Ah! Ah!
You're doing great. Keep going. Keep going, Ron.
Yeah!
Can anybody see this guy? Are you watching this right now?
Yeah.
You all right?
Ah, you little pinhead. Ah. Ah. I'm gonna miss you when you go.
I'll miss you too, Ron. But you're wrong if you think that the joy of life comes principally from human relationships. God's placed it all around us. It's in everything. In anything we can experience. People just need to change the way they look at those things.
Yeah, I'm gonna take stock of that. No, I am. I am. But I want to tell you something. From the bits and pieces I've put together, you know, from what you told me about your family, your mother and your dad, and I know you got your problems with the church too, but there's some kind of bigger thing we can all appreciate, and it sounds like you don't mind calling it God. But when you forgive, you love. And when you love, God's light shines on you.
Holy shit.
I told you about that language.
Isn't that beautiful? I love that scene. When you forgive, God's light shines on you. Or maybe it would be better to say we realize that God's light is always shining on us, but when we choose not to forgive, we block that, like the clouds, but the light is always shining. And once again, when we give everything, the light is always shining. Now, it's going to look different for each one of us how we choose to give everything. For some, it might be like St. Francis or the Buddha, giving everything away, serving the poor. Others, it will be living a simple life like most of us here, but choosing to be the source of goodness with each other. Because remember, you can't give away something that you don't have. So if you want goodness to increase in your life, be the source. And then the light is always shining. It's such a simple message. We just need to apply it. We need to do it. We need to live this. So, Vicky, have you ever seen Into the Wild before? Because this is definitely your kind of movie.
No, Jimmy, but I'm gonna see it. Teddy and I'll put it on the list. What a beautiful movie and so well cast. That boy is precious and the old man is perfect in his role. And it is that simple. I don't have anything to say. It's like, that was great. It was great. You know, and the old man climbed that hill because he got aggravated and angry and he's going to show him what. And it gave him the push that he needed. And sometimes we need that push, whether we get fed up with ourselves or some situation and finally say, oh, the heck with it. I'm just going for it. I'm just going to go outside my boundaries, go outside what I'm used to, go outside and take a chance and find out what it's like in the open. And he was a good example of that. But then he came to what he always knew. He's the one that taught the boy. Love, forgiveness, that's it. Don't worry about anything else, whatever you call it. It was great. I want to see the movie, though. It was so much fun because we woke up thinking, what's Jimmy's movie today? And we got to slip in Brother, Sun, Sister, Moon. When's that coming?
It's too predictable.
That's all right. So, but all these moments of transformation, moments of awareness, moments of awakening, I want to be open to them every day. And every day give away everything from one moment to the next, whether it's our thoughts about yesterday or anticipations about tomorrow. But somehow when we live present, we have given everything away and fresh to whatever comes to us from that place of light in our own mind. Christ, the Holy Spirit, light, name doesn't matter. That's the place of light that has no cloud. And when there's a cloud, go right up to that cloud, welcome it, let it come in, let it dull us up as much as it thinks it wants. And then we simply move through it by the willingness to let it in. And there's the light again, here and now.
It brings us right back to amor fati.
Yes, love what is.
Love everything. Maybe even especially those clouds, those blocks, those things that seem to keep us away. Love them. Don't just passively accept them. Love them because they're here to teach us so much. And it's the push, like you said. Sometimes we need that little nudge because we get complacent. It's easy just to relax. It's like, living here in Ajijic. It's easy to not learn Spanish because everyone speaks English. If I lived in a town where no one spoke English, I would be pushed into learning more. Sometimes we need that. And yeah, thanks for that, Vicky. How about you, Teddy? What do you want to share?
Well, I didn't have anything this year until you mentioned the old man. And I had an old man in my life.
Wait.
And it's like I was comfortable in my own cult till he threw me out of it. So, and you need those things. I mean, I could have been there forever, but whatever happened between us and the course, it was like I was gone from there, and because I had other things to do, and that was sort of it. You got other things to do, and you do. When you get comfortable, you don't want to move. You know what to do, what's going on, day to day becomes easy, but that's not always what it's about.
Yeah. And as you know, Teddy, you played that role for me once. So for those of you who don't know, we all lived in a community in Wisconsin for years called Endeavor Academy. And at one point I left for a little while. And then I realized, wait, it was really comfortable there. It was really easy to be around 150 or so brothers and sisters who were just so dedicated. And I'm going to go back because it's easy and comfortable. And Teddy was in charge. And I said, Teddy, I want to come back. He looked at me and said, no. You can't come back. I was like, what? What do you mean? He said, no, the guidance is no, you can't come back. And I was mad. Like, how dare he not let me come back? Everybody else is here. What's wrong with me? Vicky was there. Everybody was there. But what happened? I left a little bit PO'd, but then I went back to Boston, and next thing I know, I'm on an airplane flying to Bosnia and Croatia, and my adventure begins. And if Teddy hadn't, said no and followed that guidance, I may never have written Emissary of Light, and all of these other things may not have happened. He pushed me out. He gave me that nudge that I needed. So thank you, in retrospect. Do you remember that?
I do. As a matter of fact, I do. I just knew you had other things to do. It was sort of a commitment there, but like with everything that you had going on, there was going to be a point where somebody called on you to go be someplace else and do what you were supposed to do, and that's what you were meant to do. That's all I know, but it works when you work it. That's all I can say.
It certainly does. Well, I think today's lesson is just about finding the simple ways that we can climb that hill in our own lives. Because we all have that hill that it's more comfortable just to stay down below. But up above, there is that voice saying, come on, old man, let's go. Let's see if you can do this. And we have to take that first step and give everything. And really, it just keeps coming back to willingness. You're probably not called to liquidate all of your money and give everything to the poor. Maybe you are, but probably not. But the willingness to do whatever it takes. If that was the call to you, would you be willing to do it? If you received absolute clear guidance, would you say yes? And that's really the only key, is to be willing to give everything. And if you are, everything comes to you. Once again, you can't give away something that you don't have. So if you give everything, guess what comes to you? Everything. Seek first the kingdom of God, and everything else will be given to you. But we have to put it into practice. And that's all we're here for. We join together to put this into practice. I think that's about it. I don't think there's anything left to say, is there? Any final remarks from you, Teddy and Vicky?
Nope, we're good. You know, just follow everything that comes. The anger, the upset, the joy, follow it all. It's always the next step.
And it is true. I've been called on to give everything away 3 times now. I mean, it accumulates, and then it's time for it to go. And it easy come, easy go. And the truth is, you learn that you don't need the stuff. I mean, what you really need is the guidance, and all things will seek ye first the kingdom, and all things will be added unto you. That's it. At some point in time, if that's what you're doing, you got to do it. And you prove it to yourself, and you become an example for other people. And it's not that everybody has to give everything away. It's just that something has to prove this true and allow that vibration to be here. The vibration of the truth, however it looks, is available to everybody exactly where they are, exactly as they are. And that's it.
Amen. That reminds me of a short story that I have told before, but it probably has been a while, so I'll tell it again. And this is something that came from one of my peace heroes, Dorothy Day. And she said, imagine you have to go from New York to Chicago, and it's going to cost $100 for the bus ticket. And all you have is $20. You have to go to God first and say, this is not enough, I need $100, and then give that $20 away. Just give it all away. And then let's say miraculously somehow $40 shows up. You have to go back to God and say, this is not enough. I need $100. Give that $40 away. Find someone who needs it more than you. Give it to someone. And then somehow $80 shows up. And you go to God and say, still, it's not enough. I need $100. Give that $80 away. Just keep giving it away. And suddenly there it is, $100 miraculously comes to us. How many of us can say that we've had examples of that in our lives? Probably most of us. In some little or big way, we give something that we think may be too much or too hard to give, and suddenly everything we need comes right back to us, effortlessly. So just like the character in that movie who gave it all away, burned his money, like St. Francis, wanting to see if it's possible to really do this. Now it's up to us. How are we going to test it to see if this is possible and let it come to life within us? And there you have it. So Vicky, Teddy, thanks to all of you. Another beautiful, beautiful expression to get our morning started. We're going to go ahead now and, before we jump in, let's just take a couple of deep breaths together. Before we do our final prayer, let's just feel this. Feel this seed growing inside of us. And also sense our willingness to say yes, to give everything. I am willing. And then we water that seed, and it grows, and it bears good fruit. And so it is. let's go ahead and we'll share our final prayer together. Here we go. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so it is. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Namaste.
Namaste. Love you all.
Namaste. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I love you all.
Love you.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Bye bye
Bye-bye.
for now.
Bye now.